To start things off, let's start with a state of the company. I like to do this because I do play this on my off time. It gives you guys a little bit of an update of what's going on with the company, or if you've never seen me stream this game before and you haven't seen me play before, it gives you a heads up of where we are as well. So, starting off, we have finances. Doing pretty well. We have over $200,000. I do have a loan. So what I did is I had 3 loans before, each of $100,000, but they were older loans and a chunk of them had been paid off. But what I did, I had enough money that I could pay off 2 of the loans, and I took the larger $400,000 loan and paid off the last one, and we did some refinancing. Because with the $400,000 loan, it's over a longer duration of time, and it has a lower interest rate. So if we just compare to the $100,000 one, shorter duration, higher interest rate. And this is the case with the lower down ones too. The further down you go, the lower the lower the amount of time it takes for it to be paid off, and the higher the interest rate. So it's a little bit more financially beneficial to take the bigger loan there. It also allowed me to expand the company. So we are now at the point of having 3 trucks. So I bought a new truck for myself, which I'm going to showcase here in a little bit. But we also have a 3rd driver. So going over to the driver manager, we now have Molly M is our new driver. I actually picked her up before I bought this truck. I just bought this truck. Well, we saw how old that loan was. I don't even think a day has passed. So maybe a day or so I've owned this truck. But a couple days before that, I realized I don't actually have to have a truck to do jobs. So I passed off the truck I was previously using to Molly so I could hire her. Initially, she didn't do very good work for me. She actually lost me money rather than making me money. And some of that was partially mistakes on my part on the driver that I hired. So I hired the highest level driver, the best driver that was available, but I didn't really pay much mind to what the levels were in. And she has all the levels you see here, except she didn't have long distance. And pretty much the way that goes is the higher level the driver is, the more that they are paid, generally speaking. So she makes a flat rate per delivery and a flat rate per miles covered. So for her first delivery, the job paid less than I had to pay her, so I lost money. The second job she took, she didn't complete the job, I think. I missed what the little ticker message was down at the bottom of my little GPS, so I'm not 100% sure on this, but I don't think she made the delivery in time, so I ended up just having to pay for fuel or whatever she needed to get going again, so I lost money yet again. But since then, she's been making me money. It's slow going, but now that she has a level in long distance driving, I've switched her over, so I did switch her to get that level to long distance. Now I've just switched her to balance because I'd like her to get a point here and here so she can deliver more variety of cargo. As far as our other driver, the one we've had before, yeah, I honestly don't know what this rating means. I think it's a matter of your reliability as far as how many deliveries you've done. Until you have more experience, your rating isn't all that good. So my rating is at 4.2, so significantly better than the other 2 drivers here, but I've done a lot more work than they have. But in any case, yeah, I have him set up for fuel economy right now. I honestly don't know if I want to keep that or not. So what this means is when he levels up, he's going to prioritize whatever I pick here. So balanced, he'll try and make it so he has a point and everything evenly. Or I could specifically pick a set stat for him to focus on. Fuel economy wouldn't necessarily be terrible for him to take if he keeps the truck he's going to have, but I think what I'd like to do, because he's my longest running driver, I think I'm leaning towards getting him a new truck. So what I'd like to do is wait until he finishes a contract. So he's currently doing one. It will be 13 hours until that's finished. Wait until he finishes it and then maybe look to get him a truck. What I would need to do before that, though, and this is kind of the game plan aspect of things, is I'd like to upgrade my garage. So currently my garage can only hold 3 drivers and 3 trucks. My truck and me as a driver counts in that number. To upgrade it, I'm gonna need $100,000, and it will give me 2 extra slots. Or I could buy another garage, which would have the same 3 slots, and it'd cost me $180,000 to do that. Probably more cost efficient to do the $100,000, because you get 2 slots for that rather than 3 slots for the $180,000. But also, I think you get a couple other things by getting the large garage. I believe you get a fuel station at your garage, which has better cost. It gives you cost savings. The fuel costs more, or is more in your favor, the cost of the fuel. So I think that's what we're going to aim towards. Now, I have that money right now to do it, but for it to really be efficient, I'd also need the money to be able to upgrade or buy a truck, because without a truck, these slots aren't really going to be useful. I'd like to have a 4th driver going as soon as possible. So I think that's what we're going to aim towards, getting enough money. I think I would need probably about $60,000, because the truck I'm going to give him would probably cost about $150,000 to $160,000 if I were to guess. So that's going to be our budget. Now, I could just take a loan and do that immediately, and I do have the ceiling for that. I can take another $100,000 in loans. But let's just do some jobs and try and work up towards it naturally. Okay, so let's see where I am right now, what's going on. I think I rested and everything, so I think I'm ready to go to do more jobs. Yeah, so I'm not tired. So just to go over the interface right now, what I'm looking at. So in particular, I'm looking at this. Oh, I'm sorry, the bed. This matters too. That's the truck and whether or not it needs maintenance. So your bed. As it fills up blue, that means you're getting more and more tired. And once it gets to the top, it will turn red. If you keep driving at that point, at a certain point, you'll start getting fines for driving without sleeping, because I think there are laws in place on how many hours a truck driver can drive without resting. And if I remember correctly, it's 14 hours. So I can only drive 14 hours straight without resting. Any more than that, I start getting fines. And my guy gets tired. I don't know if you keep going, if like your guy, like, I don't know, falls asleep at the wheel or something and gets in an accident. Never actually pushed it that far, but I have pushed it far enough to get a fine, so I know that that's how that works. And then I have my fuel gauge. So I'm all fueled up and ready to go, and my guy is not tired because I just finished resting. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get a job. So we're going to go to the job market, go freight market. And if you've never played this game before, there's a number of ways you can sort jobs. You can sort them by number of parameters, route length, price per distance, expiration. This could actually be really good because, like, for example, we look at the route length. This one's going to be the shortest trip, but it expires in 5 minutes. So unless I get to this job and accept it in 5 minutes, it goes away. Maybe not the most useful, because unless I'm really just sitting right on top of where that place is, it's not likely I'm going to get there in time. So that is a factor. And a number of other things, right? But something that's really useful when you own your own truck is picking jobs that are at the location you're at, because you have to physically drive to where the job is. So I'm in Eugene, Oregon, so if I click on that, it will sort out all of the jobs that start as Eugene, Oregon as the starting point. So that's what we definitely want. So I need to sort through this and pick a job. Now, I'm specifically looking for a job because I just bought this truck. Oh, I meant to show you how good or what I set up the truck with. So actually, let's do that now. We can always look back at this. It's going to be the same jobs. Let's go over what the truck is. So I'm just going to do the vehicle browser and show you the basics of how I set this up. So the truck that I picked is the W900 here. Kenworth W900. I used the Studio Sleeper. As far as the chassis goes, I have this 6x4 chassis with a 220-gallon tank. You have to have at least this chassis size to have the sleeper cab, so that is a requirement. I'm currently level 15, so I could have, well, I got this when I was level 14, so I couldn't have got this, but this is now available. But it's a 6x2 with a bigger fuel tank, sure, but it's going to be a longer chassis. Well, maybe not. Looks like about the same length. But I prefer the 6x4. It gives us a little bit more traction in the rear because the 4 wheels in the back, or the 2 axles in the back, are are driven, whereas this one would just be the very rear one. As far as the engine goes, I have the 550 horsepower Caterpillar C15. Very good engine. And then the gearbox that I have, and this is very interesting. So if I do buy another truck in the course of this thing, I'll show this. I don't know how I show you the stats of the trucks outside of that, but I picked up this, which one is it? This one here. Because in this browser, it just picks random things, and it's regardless of whether you're the right level for it. But I picked up the Allison 4500 engine here. It's a 6-speed gearbox. And it's very interesting because the game seems to think this gearbox sucks. Like, it gives it terrible ratings. Now, ratio-wise, it's 4.7. And the lower gear, the lowest gear is going to be 4.7 ratio, and the highest gear is going to be 0.67. Again, if you're not familiar with what that means, essentially, the higher the number, the more torque you're going to get, and the lower number, the better the fuel efficiency you're going to get. So, generally speaking, the low gear is going to be that moment where you're going to get the most torque, and your highest gear is going to be the one that has your fuel efficiency. It's your cruising gear. So, that's more or less how that works. Your differential, this I had to look up a little bit. From how I understand it, it is a factor of kind of like your drive shaft, how much it spins. So the higher this number is, again, the more torque you're going to get. If you want more top speed, you're going to want a lower number. So it really just depends on what application you have. So ratio-wise, this is actually a very low number, and I think this is the reason why this gearbox is rated as poorly as it is, because if we compare that to the gearbox I was using previously, the lowest end ratio is 14.4, which gives you quite a lot of torque. But what's misleading here is this does have a torque multiplier. It gives you 2.42 extra torque. So I think that for whatever reason, the game isn't taking that into account when it's factoring in the stats for this gearbox. So, but anyway, that's a rundown of what we have. And doing a lot of research on this game and looking up like what gearboxes people prefer. A lot of people don't like these Allison gearboxes, and I almost wonder if they've ever actually driven one or if they're just going off the stats in game. Because the stats in game, this gearbox is terrible. But in any case, that's the basic setup of this truck. So let's go ahead and get that job. So I am specifically looking for a job that is a heavier weight, because I do want to test that. I've already done a few trips with this truck, and it performed really well. I really like it. But I want to see how this gearbox and engine combo perform with more weight. So that's what I'm aiming to do and why I'm aiming to do it. So as far as the jobs, the attributes you're going to see are going to be over here, but you also can see how much the weight is here. So I'm looking for one that's actually marked as being heavyweight, which I'm not seeing yet. If not, we're just going to have to make do with whatever's here. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. Maybe I can get another job somewhere else, just to show what that looks like. If I were to not select Eugene, Oregon. And probably a good way to find these really quickly is just go by price per distance. So if you see this here, this symbol, that means heavy cargo. Unfortunately, none of these jobs are where I am right now, so although that offer expires in a very long time. I don't think I want to do one of these jobs, though, because the stripey thing here means this one is one where you have a police escort, and it's a very, very, very heavy cargo, typically, or a special one. It's a very large cargo. So let's just go with the distance thing that I was doing earlier. So route length. So I'm doing shortest first. Eugene, Oregon. And we'll just pick one that sounds good. So this one is a urgent delivery. They want this as soon as possible. So that's not a bad job, and maybe we can find something. Where are we going? Newport, Oregon. Okay. That's a possibility. It will pay well. We get $33.66 or $33.66 per mile. That's pretty good rate. So that's not a bad amount of payment there. We also have this one that goes to Newport. It's the same overall destination. It's probably more distance, yeah. by a decent amount, but technically it goes to the same town. Sometimes towns could be pretty sprawling, so even though it's going the same place, as you can see, the distance keeps going up. This one goes to Portland. Because it has no special factors, it doesn't pay in anywhere near as well. All right, let's try this machine part one. First off, I have 2 hours and 38 minutes to accept the job, so that's plenty of time to get to where it is. We have the 2 companies it's going to. It's not very heavy, so unfortunately I don't get to try that bit out. This one might be better for that weight, because 42,000 is a decent amount of weight. It's not quite the heavy category, but it's getting close. Let's try this one. So I have 2 hours, 24 minutes to get there. A little longer trip. So we have to go to the home store, which is essentially Home Depot. The non-branded Home Depot. So I'm going to set that as GPS, and let's see where that is on our map. Where we have to go. Okay, so this is pretty simple. We just come out of where I am here, which is a dealership that I just took a nap in. And we just go along there, get onto the highway, and then come out this way. And so it's a decent distance away, but we have more than 2 hours to get there, so I think we'll be fine. Alright, let's start up our engine. Put her in reverse. If I remember correctly, the exit out of here is a little funky. I'm trying to remember what dealership this is. I think it's a Volvo dealership, if I remember correctly. You know, I can't really see where the exit is. Okay, it's that way. Alright, so we just keep going to the right. This is a very big truck, though. Alright, we're probably going to have to reverse a bit. Okay, I'm hoping this is the way to get out of here. Oh, that would have helped if I turned the wheel, though. Before I started pulling forward. There we go. Got a nice premium interior with the wood grain going on. So 6 speeds has made it a lot easier for me to change gears and keep track of the gears rather than that 18-speed gearbox we had before. All right, we're going right. Put our turn signal on like we're trying to drive around here. Okay, we need to go left. Look to see if anybody's coming. Looks okay. Alright, going right up here. Alright, we got a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. Yeah, I'm getting too used to changing gears too rapidly there. And I actually changed gears a little bit. Too aggressively. Oh, turn signal. Use that. So the combination of this gearbox and the engine, I found this thing is pretty zippy. A lot more than I'm used to. As a matter of fact, I'm speeding right now. Actually, let's go. If you hear that awful noise, that's me using the Jake brake. Just to slow us down a bit. Still 45 here? Alright. As you wish. I need to get a little bit more on top of my gear changes. I'm not doing the best just right now. We'll warm up though. Oh, now it's 55. And we're already to that. I'm gonna go ahead and... probably doesn't make any sense to put on the cruise control as we're about to get off here. Wasn't that long of a highway trip. Alright. So those of you that don't live in America or have never been to America and don't really know the laws as much. Which lane am I supposed to be in here? Okay, it looks like we need to get over to the left. That's a little bit of the highway that doesn't really exist in the game. Anyways, as I was saying, like, if you don't know how the traffic laws and stuff work here, that's fine. Feel free to ask questions. But just like a little thing there, when we were going on the exit ramp, you saw that 35-mile-an-hour speed limit, and it's a yellow sign. That's an advisement, not actually a requirement. It's the white signs are the ones that we need to pay attention to. Like right here, see that yellow sign that says 45? I can go 55 on this corner. That's not against the law. It's just an advisement. It's just telling you, this is kind of a sharp corner, you might want to slow down a bit. So it's up to you whether you follow that or not. Alright, now that white sign says 45. That I have to pay attention to. Just gonna go ahead and... We're okay. But now it's 35. Let's go down a gear. Okay, we're almost to our destination. It's gonna be up here on our left. Question is, where is the entrance? That the entrance right there? Because the red goes quite a bit beyond that, but I think this is the entrance. Alright. So we go into the freight market. If this is the right destination, it'll have the thing I marked with my GPS, which it has. So we'll go ahead and now actually officially take the job. Alright, now we gotta pick up our cargo. Let me see where it is. Okay, there it is. Alright. I think how I approach this is just pull up like so. Switch into third person just to make this easier on me. So, unfortunately that pickup truck is kind of in the way of the maneuver I'd like to make. But we'll do as best as we can. Alright. Put in reverse. I'm gonna have to take another stab at this just because of not having a lot of room to maneuver here, but I might be able to pull it off. I'm gonna have to straighten out. I think it's gonna be a little too off. Let me just pull forward a little bit. Almost, but not quite. Alright. That should do it. We'll just straighten her out. So this is a nice simple gearbox to use. It only has 6 speeds. Alright, that'll do. Fortunately, every time I go from first person to third person, I do have to look over a little bit because my mirror is a little... Oop, going first. A little outside the normal view range. Alright, so we're going to have to approach this kind of wide so we can get through the gate. I'm going to pull out this way a bit. Alright, and then just back the way we came to get out of here. This is a fairly heavy load. It's not enough to be classified as being heavy, but 42,000 pounds is a decent amount. So we'll get a little bit of an idea of how this handles it. I would have preferred a... Ah, shit. I'm not going to make that. I hate these gates. I'm going to have to go really wide. Alright. Sorry, Volvo. It's really easy to get hung up on those gates. Maybe there was a better way of me approaching that, but... Alright. Make her right here. I'm still getting used to the turning circle of this truck, too. It's kind of wide. We'll get the hang of it, though. Alright, look both ways. There's a truck coming, but I think I'll beat it. Although I might block the way here because there is a lot of vehicles. Sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have gone. That would have been an impolite thing to do, but... oh well. It's just the AI. I mean, the AI have done enough impolite things to me over my time driving. Alright. Decent amount of traffic. I actually don't know when the loan installment will hit. It used to hit just before noon, but since I did the refinancing, it might come at a different time now. We'll see. Because it's almost that time now. Alright, so what's going on up ahead? Okay, we're moving now. Sometimes there's accidents and things, and the AI will just sit there, so I just wanted to make sure that's not what was going on. So we can look ahead a little bit and see what's going on here. So it seems like the AI is stopping like one light. Like they're clearing that intersection, which is honestly, I mean, probably the way they should be doing it. Is it me, or did that truck just drive straight through a red light? Thought we were supposed to turn left here, but I think it's actually at that. So is this a light for this spot here, or not? I'm a little confused with how this intersection works. So we got stopped here, so I'm probably blocking that intersection as I'm not supposed to, but... yeah, see, there's a separate light here. By the way, I have encountered bugs in this game where the light will be green and I drive, and it will give me a ticket for running through a red light. That does definitely happen. Actually happened to be on my last delivery. Green was very... the light was very green, and I got a ticket for running a red light. So I definitely feel that weight that we're pulling. The truck is a little more sluggish. Maybe I need to do this in VR. Well, when I figure out how to do that and do it while streaming. Alright, we got it. Alright, this is probably a good time. Put on cruise control and relax. One thing I will say about my truck is it has a very limited info display there. There's the loan installment, so it still happens about the same time. Oh, I think we need to get over. Let me just double check that on the map here. Yeah, okay. We need to get over to the left lane. But yeah, the info panel there, that green panel just above my rev counter and speedometer, there's not really a lot to see there. And it's harder. I haven't yet figured out whether or not I know that cruise control is on, other than just trying to keep track of it myself in my head. Because as far as I know, unless there's a switch or something over on the right there, because I have a switch for my headlights, which I can't quite make out what state it's in. I think my headlights are on, which we definitely don't need on. Yeah, okay. So see there, that switch helped. Because I was able to determine whether or not my headlights were on. But unless there's a switch somewhere that has the cruise control, I don't know how I tell whether it's on or not. Because my previous truck had a display in the information panel, which was a more advanced version, more modern setup. And I could see not only whether or not it was on, but what speed it was set to. Which was kind of nice. Okay, so again, cruise control. We'll have a better fuel economy while we're doing the cruise control. So just to show you what the info panel can do, I don't know how well you can read this, but right now I'm just looking at my fuel tank. So it tells me I have 207 gallons, and it's estimated distance that I can travel on under that much fuel. We have speedometer, so just 55 miles an hour. Oh, there you go. There's the cruise control and what it's set to. But I have to be specifically on this panel to see it. Clock. My fuel economy, pretty much since I've been driving the truck, what it's been at, so 6.1 miles per gallon. I haven't reset that, so that's pretty much the life of truck. We are up to 60 here in a bit, so I do need to change that, but... and then the total distance that the trip is set to, pretty much as long as I've been driving the truck. Oil temp, water temp, and then back to fuel gauge. Alright, let's go back. Let's speed up. I might have to pull it out of the cruise control because I think it's still stuck to that. Let me double check that. Yeah, so accelerating doesn't pull it out of cruise control, but braking does. That I wasn't 100% sure of. Also, we're going uphill, so we're kind of slowing down. So put it into a lower gear. Alright, that's good enough. I might want to confirm that, because that might have just been the uphill bit that was stopping me from accelerating. So we're at 60. Let's set cruise control. Now, if I continue to accelerate, does it change the cruise control? I just accelerated, it didn't change the cruise control, so that's interesting. So, good to know. So probably the way to reset it would be turn it off and then accelerate and then turn it back on, I'm guessing. Oh, did I miss the exit? Whoops. Yeah, I see it's having me turn around. That's alright. We're wrapped up in our own stuff. Might not be alright, though, because we have to do a quick delivery. Let me double check that. So, pause. F6. We have 4 hours remaining on the job. Expected time is 1 hour 55, so we still have plenty of time. Let's not make many more of those mistakes, though. I'll just keep it on the cruise control setting here because we'll probably be using it. Although once I get to this gate. Thankfully, we didn't have too much of a detour. Hey, Iggy. Alright, let's go down a gear. Okay, so immediately turn left. So this is going to eat up a little bit of time going the wrong way, but it is what it is. Give us some time to get a drink. So my previous time playing this game, I was not using the cruise control at all. I was doing it all manually. But it does help the fuel economy to use it. With the controller, it's kind of hard to set up the acceleration to be as fuel efficient as you'd like. So the cruise control does a pretty good job with that. So if you want to keep your fuel economy up, cruise control really does help with that. At least in my mind, it does. Going a little wide there. Not sure if the gear I'm in is appropriate. I can't really see my rev counter. Alright, we got a yield here. Man, that guy was going way slower than I thought he was. Sorry, everybody behind me. Alright. Sorry, we're driving like trash right now. Yeah, the guy there wasn't driving very fast. I was hoping he would pass me a lot sooner than he did. Oh well. Let's make all our mistakes for this trip. As long as we don't run into anybody, it will be fine. Changing up a gear was probably a mistake because we're going uphill. Then again, our torque is, I think, at about 1200 RPM, which we're just under that. So this engine's more powerful than the one I had previously, so... Okay, we definitely need to get off here. Don't want to keep making mistakes with the missing our exit, so... I'm gonna go down a gear. We'll start using our engine braking. Maybe a little bit of real braking here. Alright, go down a gear again. Alright, so we turn left here. Alright. Alright, right lane in, so I'm just going to stay in the left lane. Okay, speed limit's probably going to be 55 on this road. Looks like, for most of the duration. Unless we have to go through a town, it might slow down, so... let's at least get to that speed. Well, that's right, this wasn't the urgent delivery, this was just the... I think it's called an important delivery. That's how they classify it. When it's just the blue one. We could probably put cruise control on here in a little bit. I just need to get out of return. One thing I would like to get eventually, gearbox-wise, is a gearbox with a retarder. Because at the moment, with cruise control, it really doesn't handle hills very well. So we're going downhill right now. Let's see if we start speeding up. It's not a very... yeah, it wasn't much of a slope though, so it didn't really speed us up too much. But now I can just cruise here. And our fuel economy will be pretty darn good. And just relax. Now I might need to take over if we're going uphill. Or going downhill, for that matter. Oh, it's 65 now. Alright. Cruise control off. I'm actually going to go... well, it was 65 for a brief moment. We missed that moment. Because now it's 55. That's a bummer. Alright, so we'll just put it back into cruise control range. Alright, we're there. I want to make sure that we're not turning, because I have to take my hand off the controller to put the cruise control on, because I don't have it bound to my controller. I have it bound to the keyboard. Alright. Let's take a quick peek at the map, see where we are and what is coming up. Alright. So we just go until we pretty much have to turn. Alright. Nice and easy. Oh, thank you for the follow, Stuart. Yeah, see, right here, downhill, note that we're going 57. The cruise control really can't do anything about that, but as far as I know, if you have a retarder, you can set it up so that it will kick in. And see, at this point, we're going uphill. Cruise control's not really handling that very well. Well, first off, because we're going to need to be in a lower gear. Alright, so it's 45 up ahead. But we're not going 45, so nothing to worry about right now. Might be a problem here in a second, though. We're about to go downhill. We'll just use the Jake brake to slow down, though. Oh, 35. We're going to really need to slow down. Okay, there we are. Oh, now 30. Oh, we're almost to our point of delivery here. Cool. So I'm still getting used to this truck, but I really do like it so far. Alright. Doesn't look like we're going to be turning right anytime soon. We'll just wait for the light, because it's going to turn soon anyway. Yeah. There it is. Okay. Then our destination is on the left. Perfect. Okay, 25 up ahead. Yeah, see, I still am getting used to the gearbox. I'm changing gears too fast because I'm used to that 18-speed gearbox where you really have to be on top of your gear changes. Very wide, but I don't... There we go. Okay, we'll just do the simple, let's play it safe. Alright, now, not a bad little delivery. One little hiccup because we missed an exit, but otherwise fine. Alright, how are they going to want me to do this? Feel like I didn't go that wide around the corner, so I just want to make sure I don't clip that yellow. Alright, here we go. I'm gonna try and do it without using third person. I think I can pull it off. I mean, it's not that hard to do. There we are. Alright, cool. The one thing I'm not sure I talked about earlier, the higher level you are, the more you get paid, just straight up. It doesn't matter what your stats are. So if you're newer to the game, you can get loans even before you level up. You just have to do a few deliveries and then they'll email you, the bank will, offering you a loan. At first you only start with 100,000 as the amount that you can take out. Then once you get to level 3, they'll let you take up to 500,000, which unlocks the capability to take the $400,000 loan. The thing is, though, it's a lot harder to pay off the loan when you're really low level because you're not getting the bonuses for being higher level. So just keep that in mind. There's nothing wrong with taking the loan that early. Just, you know, as long as you're prepared to make that kind of money. Maybe not recommended when it's your first time playing, but... All right. Let's find our next job. So we're at 204,000. Not much more money than we had before, but we did pay off the loan. How are our drivers doing? Let's take a peek at that. You still have 8 hours. You have 15 hours. So we won't see anything from them for quite some time. Okay, let's find our next job. I shouldn't be all that tired. That was kind of a short delivery. So we're in Newport. And specifically, I'm looking for a heavier cargo. This could qualify, although I don't know if I want 3 trailers in a train like that. It's kind of hard to move those around. This might do it. Log loader. Very, very heavy. It's another articulated trailer, and it's going to be really long. So it will be a little tricky to manage it, but look at that price per mile. That's out there. I mean, this one's close. I mean, it's more so, but yeah, this is good. And it has 4 different stats going on. So we've got high value cargo, important delivery, heavy cargo, and articulated trailer. So let's take a look at it in detail. So we have until Thursday at 2 in the morning to deliver. Now, even though this is a important delivery, one that you need to deliver fast, a little tip here, offer expires. That actually gives you a little bit of leeway because it's 5 hours and 21 minutes before the offer expires. Well, the offer is set there, so even if you take the job when there's only like 3 minutes left, they still have to give you enough time to do the job. So by it having 5 hours and 21 minutes before it expires, it gives us a lot of time to deliver this. So quite an advantage that we have to take into account here. It's a 300-mile trip, so that's a decent length. We have 5 hour, 41-minute estimated time. Might take longer than that, though. So let's set our GPS. Now, it's going to give you a warning whenever you take a big, heavy cargo like this, and it's going to be like, oh, you make sure your stats are okay. Now, keep in mind, I was saying earlier that gearbox I selected, the game really doesn't like it. It gives us really bad ratings in a lot of things. I don't think I trust this. And I think the problem is it's not taking into account the torque multiplier that our gearbox applies, because these are the things when we look at the heavy cargo, these are the things it's looking at. It's looking at the torque number, it's looking at your first gear ratio, and that's the reason why it gives us bad stats. It's because that first gear ratio is lower, far lower than any other gearbox's first gear ratio. So the game really hates this gearbox, but it's misleading because it's not taking into account that torque multiplier. So we're going to go ahead and take the job nonetheless. And that warning will come up regardless of the capability of your truck. So if you see that warning and you start going, oh no, my truck's not good enough, that doesn't mean that your truck's not good enough. I wonder if there's a way through this way. It just means that they're trying to let you know that this is a job that you may need a little... No, it doesn't look like we can go this way. You may need a little bit more power. So it's more just a heads up, not telling you can't do it.